It was nice, yeah.
Great session.
Yeah, you can go to Abu Dhabi. I'm very excited. It's my first time, so don't bite me and be nice. And as Sharon said, our discussion will handle all the issue of regional partnerships and cooperation between vision and reality. And I want to start with you, Eli. You know, Eli, you, for many years, you and your organization tried to promote this regional cooperation even before the Abraham Accords. And I wonder how you see today this regional cooperation after all the, the developments in the region.
Thank you, Roy, and I want to thank also Amos Gilad and
Shai. Eli, not lecture. Huh? Not lecture.
I have 50 minutes, and I will not use any minute more than my 50 minutes. I want to thank Amos Gilad and Shai Hartzvi for allowing us to speak here, and also for inviting my dear colleagues in Mina 2050, Abdalaziz and Abdallah. I'll start with this, that I'm a great believer of regional cooperation, and this is why when I met a gentleman sitting here named Kobe 3 years ago, my life took a turn, and that became the center of my life. So the good news is, of course, the Abraham Accords, and we heard that, and that was a paradigm shift in the Middle East. But the way I look at it, the regional cooperation, the life between the cooperation between Jews and Arabs in the Middle East did not start with the Abraham Accords. I grew up in a Jewish Iraqi family that was expelled with the entire Jewish community from Iraq in 1951. We grew up in Ramat Gan, which is the Iraqi capital in Israel. And for me, it was being raised...
I see Amir smile.
Yeah, because we have the same roots. I'll say something about that in a minute. So for me, it was growing up in a home which was very Arab in culture, in language and everything, and then going out of home in Israel. But the Iraqi, Jewish Iraqi community has been thriving in Iraq for 2,600 years. A century ago, 40% of the population in Baghdad was Jewish. So for me, the cooperation between Jews and Arabs in this part of the world goes back 2,000 years ago. It did not start with the Abraham Accords. And this is why I think we have a lot to build on. Now, the same happened throughout the region. From Morocco to Iran, you had hundreds of communities living side by side, Jews and Arabs, Christians, Muslims, etc. Now, when we talk about cooperation, about partnership with our neighbors, it's not because we are giving something and taking something. It's a true partnership. Amir here, we just said we share the same roots. He's done a remarkable job as our ambassador in Abu Dhabi. Now, one of the main secrets Amir holds, and we will not say that, but I've seen the respect he gets from his Emirati colleagues. This is because he comes to this job with great love, great respect, and this is the house where he grew in. And when he talks with them about partnerships, they believe him. It's genuine. And there are so many things we can work on, so many things. And we could see Gideon here was pushing for the Project Prosperity. Water for energy with Jordan. We have the I2U2 framework, Israel, India, United States, and United Arab Emirates. A food corridor from India to the U.A.E. and renewable energies. Okay? Just 1.5 years ago, less, the war in Ukraine started. All this part of the world goes crazy because they are going to lose their grain. Okay, we remember what happened in Dara in 2011. Why don't we have a regional grain storage to make sure that we're not losing opportunities or losing our stability when the next war happens? Okay? In Africa, they are losing 50% of their grain. In the Arab world, 15%. In Israel, 0.1%. Why don't we work together on all these issues?
Okay. Thank you. Ahmed Abdalaziz Al-Khamis, thank you very much. It's good to see you here. Every time I see you, I think maybe the peace is more closer between Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Let us pray.
And I want to ask you, today, you know, here the news maybe will be flights from Israel to Mecca, to the Hajj. And I wonder how you see all these developments, and also what do you think is the main obstacle for us to achieve the peace between your country and Israel? Because many people in Israel dream on peace with Saudi Arabia. It is the Palestinian cause. It is the tensions between your regime and Saudi Arabia and Biden administration, the rapprochement with Iran. Maybe all together.
I think you answered the question.
No, I know you will answer.
It's, I think it's the important thing is to understand the Saudi position. Saudi Arabia is the hub of Muslim world, Mecca and Medina. We're not talking about a country only with economical interests. We're talking about a country with holy lands, very important to manage the reputation of Saudi Arabia in the region. Saudi Arabia is a very big country, one of the group 20 in the world. It's not needing to hurry to make a relationship without a price. Need a lot of respect, and we talk about it many times. When Israeli and leaders talk about the relation, they talk it as an easy country. Why they not join the Abraham Accord? Why not they coming quickly? They are in the queue. But Saudi Arabia not in the queue. Saudi Arabia want Israel to respect their roots. Saudi Arabia is responsible about many cases in Arab world, and we know they are the Muslim world hub, and they should give Muslim world with Israel some solution for the problems in the region. And we know if Saudi Arabia and Israel have a relation, it's meaning a lot for the region, meaning a huge change in the region. Even it will affect Iran. And we know now how the relation with Iran is bringing Iran to a peaceful environment, to know exactly what the benefit of no conflict in the region. The problem with Israel, or the obstacles, is they want peace and they don't want to pay the price for it.
Such as?
Yeah. We know the King Faisal dream about to pray in Jerusalem, in Al-Aqsa. Mm-hmm. But they not help, the Israelis, they not help to bring this dream to the Saudis. Peaceful environment in the region, it should be considered the Palestinian cause. King Salman, he's responsible when he's young about the Palestinian donation in Saudi Arabia. And we remember when we are young in the schools, we pay the Palestinians $1 to liberate the mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque. But now, we should understand the solution should be coming between the Saudis and the Israelis through the Al-Aqsa gate. There is no solution. There is no talk about the problem in Jerusalem, the problem with the Palestinians. And I think if we want to solve the problem between Israel and Saudi Arabia, they should take care of the Palestinian more seriously to help the Saudi leaders to let the Saudis, the public opinion, to accept such a deal between Saudi and Israel. There is no price. The American come into Riyadh without anything, nothing in the file. They come just say, make a deal with a peaceful deal, like in join Abraham Accord. But we are not in Saudi Arabia. We don't need to have a peace without a solution. We are a leader in the region, Muslim and Arabic world, and we need the Israelis to consider this thing and to give the Saudis, especially the public opinion, a very good, not a gift, but at least give something to the Arabs and to let the Saudis go forward to have a very good peace deal. In Saudi Arabia, we don't like a deal like what you did with Egypt. or with Jordan. No. Peace is peace. Like what the Emirates is doing now with you, with Israel. When we do a peace, we do it. But we should do it in a very respectable and give the Arabs and Muslims something. And if Saudi Arabia coming to the peace, all of the Arab countries and Muslim countries will come.
Thank you. Abdallah Al-Junaid from Bahrain. How are you?
Fantastic.
I want to ask you, you know, we are after 3 years from the Ibrahim Accords, which include your country. What do you think is still missing, and what the Israeli government you think should improve regarding regarding these accords?
Okay, before I start or answer your question, I think I need to go back to Eli. When he introduced his Iraqi heritage, and he is half Iraqi, you need to understand he also eats for 2 Iraqis.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Abdallah knows eating is one of my biggest talents. No one eats better than me.
Yep. I believe what we need to understand is address gaps. Continue addressing gaps. I've met during the last 5 months 3 of your ambassadors in 3 different countries. The last was in Bahrain. I spoke to a lot of diplomats, ex-diplomats, and so on. But I'm very happy that the ambassador I spoke to, Israelis, that we are very lucky to have a matching partner in Tel Aviv from Bahrain. He is capable, and we need to continue making sure that our country had the right tools of representation, engagement, continuing engagement, and making sure that we can handle the time of honeymoon when everybody was happy after signing the Abrahamic Accord, but also having the other tools, public, official, and by other means like this forum. We need to continue having those. I think the first priority that should concern all of us is restabilizing the Middle East. That's the biggest issue that will not just unite us, but will sustain other things. The Abrahamic Accords have done something that hasn't been achievable or possible. We have revitalized connected geography, talking about U.A.E. to the Med. Now, we have Saudi Arabia. It's a gap. But we all need to understand we have to respect that this gap is there for a certain reason. We shouldn't agitate the Saudis. We should encourage the Saudis. What we need to do is, again, gaps, motivation, and tailoring something that's, befitting everybody's aspiration.
You mean gaps? What do you mean gaps? The Palestinian cause, for example?
Listen, when I was asked before about the Palestinian issue, I said, nor you nor the Palestinians are ready to speak. The minute you bridge that gap and you are willing to talk to each other and you ask us to come in as a friends to, let's say, bridge something or making sure that this solution need an honest broker or guarantor, we as a regional collectively could come in as partners in this solution.
Thank you, Abdallah. Amir, Khayek, you are most of the time in Abu Dhabi, but you are here with us. I'm very happy. And I want to ask you how you translate the Abraham Accords from vision to reality, and also, and be frank, what are the difficulties? And the microphone, please. We want to hear you.
You know, I arrived to Abu Dhabi a year and 7 months ago, and I had 1 assistant and 10 bodyguards. And we started to work. We started to put some KPIs and to try to achieve them. I think Kobe came to visited me a month after I arrived to Abu Dhabi, We still didn't have embassy. We had, Anyway, when I'm saying that we brought the dreams into reality, I'm not talking about slogans. I'm talking about numbers, KPIs, tangible numbers. Let's talk about trade, for example. The trade between both countries reached to $2.56 billion in 2022. It puts the United Arab Emirates in the ranking number 16 out of 126 countries that Israel is trading with. We passed Japan. Don't say anything to the Japanese. And we are importing cars from Japan, I'd like to remind you. This year, the first quarter was $783 million, so I have the feeling that we will touch the $3 billion this year, 2022. This is trade, and it's not including G2G, and it's not including software, which we are counting in services. Investments around $3 billion. Tourists.
And what are the different...
Let me enjoy the results,
Okay.
And I'm not happy with the results, because if I will say that I'm happy, I can, we can lie down and no, we need to push more because we have a lot to do. And you spoke, Abdallah, you spoke about honeymoon. We didn't have one day of honeymoon with our relations with the Emiratis because we started to work immediately, both sides. It's not that we don't we like each other very much, and we started to work and to put KPIs. I have a great partner for that, the Emirati ambassador here, Mohammed Al-Khaja, and we decided on day one that we will work together. We have no competition between us, and we need to push it forward. Tourism, more than 1 million Israelis already came to the U.A.E., and I will tell you that Israelis are early adopters of technology and tourism. If you will tell them there is a good restaurant in an island, I don't know where, they will be there tomorrow. Less Emiratis are coming here. This is a challenge. We need to see more Emiratis coming to visit Israel. I think this is one of the activities of people to people that can bring the people together.
By the way, also from Bahrain and other countries, I think.
Yes, but they're all welcome here. Yeah. But I'm looking at the numbers between Israel and the U.A.E.
Yeah.
I have my own kitchen. Don't mix me with other kitchens.
Okay.
And now we have some challenges. Regional projects. Eli mentioned I2U2, Negev Forum, Prosperity Blue and Green, and other projects, and we can do much more out of it. The relations, it's a startup. It's a startup that can assure you will be unicorn. And it's a startup that, it's like a baby, 2.5 years old, that already speaks 3 languages. 2.5 years, it's nothing. And we are running fast forward. A very, very, very high-level Emirati described it as a car that's driving fast forward and have no reverse gear. And no, we passed the point of no return. And yes, we have a lot to do between us, and it's a challenge. Now, you'll ask me about, there are still Israelis that think that Dubai is a nickname for Abu Dhabi. We need still to educate our people, to bring more people. At the beginning, I got phone calls from my friends telling me, are you out of your mind? Why did you leave everything and went to Abu Dhabi? And I told them, you better buy a ticket and come here, and I will give you the answer here on the ground. And when they are coming to Abu Dhabi, they are telling me 2 sentences. We came for too short, and we will come again. And we need to bring more Israelis, those who, not those who are coming for the 5th time, those who didn't come to see what's going on there.
Thank you, Amir. Danny Sebright, right? I want to ask you, because you are the representative of the United States here, I want to ask you, do you think the Biden administration make enough effort to promote the Abraham Accords?
So I want to thank, again, Amos Gilad as well. We've worked together for 30 years. I served here in Israel as a U.S. diplomat back in the day for 3 years during the Scud attacks. So I have a very deep appreciation and understanding of Israel. let's just go back to, I'm going to answer your question directly, but let's just go back to when Ambassador Yusuf Al-Ateba published an op-ed in Hebrew a couple months before the Abraham Accords popped, and what the purpose of that was. The purpose of that op-ed was to give the Israeli people a direct understanding that the Emirates was ready to take with Israel two roads, or Israel had a choice of two roads, a road that went downward or a road that went upward for the future, for hope and prosperity. And the reason the U.A.E. did that was it wanted to tell the Netanyahu government very clearly that if you annex the West Bank, that's going to, the road is downward. Here we are again today. The Abraham Accords, to the ambassador's point, to Professor Ketby's point, have been very successful. We think with the new SEPA, the new deal that was signed, a foreign free trade agreement between Israel and the U.A.E., and that was just put into operation a month ago, that trade's going to be $10 billion in a few years between the two countries. The Biden administration was slow to come to understanding of the importance of the Abraham Accords because it was a new administration. I was on the White House lawn when the Abraham Accords were signed. I've worked on the Middle East for 30 years. This was a game changer. Everyone said that. This is a DNA changer for the Middle East. The DNA of your region is changing today as a result of the Abraham Accords, and it's going to change even more. The Biden administration, new in office, recovering from the trauma of a Trump administration, recovering from the trauma of COVID. We're still in the middle of COVID. It took a little time. I wanted to celebrate at Expo 2020 the one-year anniversary of the Abraham Accords, and the U.S. Embassy put up their hand and said, slow down. We got to let the administration come along. They've come along, and every single American official that you hear from the Biden administration today will tell you how important this accord, what the Abraham Accords are for the future. They're working very closely with Saudi Arabia right now to try to bring the Saudis along. Will that happen this year? Will it happen next year? Who knows? But everyone at this dais has said that the key issue, again, is Israel and the Palestinians finding a way to live together, calming down, at least being peaceful. Bottom line. But there is much more hope with COP28, with the Negev. We had an I2U2 meeting yesterday. The future's unlimited here for you guys. And I know Israel very well after 30 years. Get on with it already.
Abdulaziz, I want to ask you, many people in Israel spoke in the recent years, and Ksenia stole my question regarding the Arabic-Israeli NATO against Iran, against the threats in the Red Sea. Do you think it's still realistic, this alliance between all the countries and Israel and Arab countries after, the reconciliation with Iran? Because, people in Israel, people say maybe now the Saudis are with Iran. They don't want the normalization anymore.
No, I think in Saudi Arabia now the strategy is zero conflict with everybody, even with Israel, if the Israel gives something, especially about the Palestinian cause. The Saudi leadership changed to be more, or to finish all of the files. They have a peace deal with Iran. They have now agreement and deals with Bashar al-Assad, Syria, Turkey,
Qatar.
Qatar. But they have bad relation with Washington and still no relation with Tel Aviv. And this is the important thing. I think the American, they failed to help the region countries, even U.A.E. or other countries in the region. They're not happy with the American department, this one, the recent one. And the Chinese play a major role. They're coming with a good deal. They're coming to help and to consider the interests of Saudis, not they put their interests more or before the Saudi interest. That's why the Saudis welcome this one. And the other thing the Saudis think about, if they have a peace deal with Iran, it will help the region. It will not affect the relation or the potential relation with Israel. Especially when they see the U.A.E. and Bahrain have a good relation with Israel and good relation now with Iran. There is no conflict between these two. I think we need Saudi Arabia play a major role to bring the Israeli and Palestinian together to Riyadh. And will open the dialogue between the Saudis and Israelis, and it will help to solve the problem. I think the solution for the problem in Palestine and Jerusalem should be in Riyadh through the Saudi leadership, especially MBS. It will help a lot to the normalization of the relation. Other thing, it will help a lot of bring the region together. We in Saudi Arabia consider Israel as a people. Most of, especially the new generation, they think about Israel different from the old generation. They think about them. They have a good or potential cooperation in the future. Other thing, we have a lot of common interests. We have Red Sea security. We have a fight against terrorism. We have economical potentials. We have the city for the future. It's not far from Eilat. We need to see the Israelis coming to invest. We welcome the Israeli Muslims to come to Mecca, and we want them to come direct, and we hope they come direct, and when they come direct, they need Israeli government agencies to help them in Mecca and in Jeddah. It's a future. It's coming. The peace is coming, but we need them to work. There is no work, especially through here from Israel. What we just listen to media or speeches, or they come in, they are in the queue. No, you need to work hard, especially in Israel. You need to have initiatives to give it to the Saudis, and if you give it to the Saudis, it's meaning you give it to the Muslim world, not only Saudi Arabia, not only for the population of Saudis. You're going to Mecca and Medina, and you will have a lot of credibility for the world, especially Arab and Muslim world. Thank you.
Thank you. Abdallah, I want to ask you regarding the public opinion in the Arab world and also Bahrain on the Abraham Accords, 3 years after the signing of the Abraham Accords. How do you see it?
Listen, it's not a matter of years or days. It is what Ambassador Hayek
The microphone. We want to hear you, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. It's not the years or months or days. It is measured by a different yardstick. And I believe what Ambassador Hayek have said is we need a real interpretation of what has been achieved and what is next. Okay? And like what Abdalaziz have said and what Danny have said, we need to vision what need to be done. Okay? When you talk about Saudi Arabia at the present time, the Israelis are so fixated on Saudi Arabia, like, even if you want to ask a lady for a drink, to go out for a drink or dinner, she can ask you, can you help with the Saudis? What you need to do, okay, first of all, have you ever thought what NEOM represents for the Saudis and how close it is to your borders? Okay? All the writing on the sand. But unfortunately, your diplomat or your strategist, I believe probably in the security apparatus and everything, they can read that. But I believe you are continuing to do politics as usual. It's too Israeli. It's not working for you. It's not working regionally. You need to recalibrate. And seriously, you are our cousin. You don't need to tell us you are Jews all the time. Okay? Please. We want to talk to you as Israeli first. Be partners. That's it.
Sidani want to say something.
I just want to underscore something that he said. It's so, the focus is, rightly so, very much on security affairs here all the time. I know it well. But you need to look at your partners and understand them a little bit better too. In the last 3 or 4 years, coming out of COVID, Saudi Arabia, the U.A.E., Qatar have had a complete strategic framework shift in their focus. They're not about hard power anymore and building up their militaries. They're about soft power.
Soft power, yeah.
That's why the Abraham Accords happened. That's why the focus on economy for the future. The Abraham Accords are going to succeed because the U.A.E. and Bahrain made a strategic shift for the future. This is not a short-term thing. This is a long-term strategic objective. And it's based in economy, in trade, investment, in bringing a fundamental reorientation of these economies away from oil and gas to all the other elements of a sound, diversified economy for the future. That's the focus. That's the opportunity for all of your high tech and all of your great, all the stuff that you bring to the table.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Again, that's a point.
I won't stop you, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You can stop me whenever. Listen, when we talk about rapprochement, the Saudi, Iranian, everybody's, and especially the Americans say, sponsored by China. Actually, what the Americans are failing to understand, the Chinese role within this framework are guarantors to the Saudi on behalf of, guaranteeing Iran behavior. Mm-hmm. Okay? Since the signing of this rapprochement, has anybody heard any whisper about reviving, the Iran 6+1 nuclear deal? It's not there anymore. The Americans are far too busy doing something else. It doesn't mean that the Saudis are not going to take the initiative and manage this issue. Again, one more time, being a partner, you need to take a lead. Syria could benefit from collective will, okay? Without stabilizing Syria, it's not like what Ross have said earlier, that we were hedging and we're going to, fill on our behind and hurt ourselves. No, okay? But everybody need to understand, it's not the capital coming out of Syria that made us, re-engage Syria. There is a real red line, and it is Jordan. And Jordan is an area that threatens our national security, and we will not stand and watch the failure of Jordan. Saudi can't afford that. You, as Israeli, can't afford that. And with the Saudi had to step in to safeguard our collective security.
Amir, I want to ask you something about how the regional tensions, for example, in the Palestinian authorities in Jerusalem, affects the relationship between Israel and U.A.E. How you experience it as an ambassador there? With the microphone, please. Maybe you prefer with no microphone.
The weather in Abu Dhabi is great. Let's. The United Arab Emirates is a part of the Muslim world, and of course it affects them and their needs as an Arab country. And sometimes we have disagreements, and that's okay. Sometimes we are convincing them that we are right. Sometimes they are convincing us that they are right. Sometimes we agree not to agree. So, as I told you, we passed the point of no return. So, any noises around us it can hurt in the minute we are hearing them, but in the long run, we are on the right track. Now, if I may, I'd like to go back to the economy because it was raised a few times here. What the Emiratis wants. To understand that, you need to listen to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed's speech in 2015 in front of the World Economic Forum. And he said something that when I've heard it for the first time, I said to myself, why? He said, I'm dreaming about the day that we will send the last barrel of oil out of Abu Dhabi. And I stopped the movie and said to me, wait, again. And he said, and we will celebrate that day if we will work hard. In order to celebrate that day, it means that the U.A.E. would like to have economy that's not relying only on gas and oil. And here Israel comes, and we can offer a lot. And they are focusing. Look what I have on my hand. It's not a club. It's COP28. It's COP28.
Okay.
We are all talking COP28 now, and the Emiratis are focusing in impact industries, in water desalination, renewable energies, food tech, agrotechnology, medical devices, telemedicine, education, transportation, communication, and we can do a lot. It's not that Israelis are coming with technology, selling it to the Emiratis and coming back. No, we are talking about cooperation. And the numbers of cooperation are hard numbers to measure because it will take time. Now, I can tell you that I see the United Arab Emirates as the growth engine to our industry because of 5 reasons. They have their innovation infrastructure complete what we have here. Second, if an Israeli company would like to open a manufacturing site there and they need capital or partners, they can find them there in the U.A.E. They can be Emiratis, but they can be Americans, Europeans, Asians as well. Third one, people, you can find any kind of people you need. From metal engineers, machine engineers, software engineers, food engineers, to metal employees or carpenters or anyone you want. And if you cannot find them there, you can bring them within 1 day. I would like you to bring one foreign employee to Israel. It will take you ages. Now, 4th reason, raw materials. It's a hub of trade. You can find the raw materials much easier in a much decent prices. And the 5th reason is access to new markets. Now, you can find any of these ingredients in any other countries, but combined, you can find them only in the U.A.E. For us, it's a growth engine, and we will use it, together with the Emiratis.
Eli, I want to ask you, as civil society representative, what we should do to expand, the regional cooperations between the countries?
Okay, I think that civil society has a central role to play in this sphere. My colleagues here talked about the need to have more people-to-people engagements. Amir was talking about having more Emirati tourists coming to Israel. And there's a lot to do about that, okay? We can do a lot under the threshold of government operations. I think some governments in the region would like to see it happening more, knowing that G2G, government-to-government efforts are more politically challenging, and then maybe allowing some sort of engagements between people. It's interesting because I think in many ways the Abraham Accords and what we're seeing now, the new regional restructuring did not change only this part of the world, it changed the whole world, okay? Because everybody in the world is now looking what's happening here and want to understand how it reflects on them. When I go to Abu Dhabi, I'm not only meeting Emiratis, okay? I'm meeting Syrians, I'm meeting Iraqis, I'm meeting Algerians, I'm meeting the whole Arab world, and I'm meeting the rest of the world. So, even Israel. So this is something that civil society has a central role to play here. But I heard my colleagues, and I wanted to say something which in my mind is very important, because I referred...
But short, because
Yeah, I'm looking at it, don't worry. I referred before to the opportunities that we have. And there are plenty of opportunities. But I think it's very important to remember that the paradigm shift that came with the Abraham Accords, namely, we can do business with Israel, we can have relations with Israel before the Palestinian issue is resolved, does not mean that the Arab world looks at the Palestinian issue as something that doesn't have to be resolved. Okay? So luckily, I mean, most Israelis are not diplomats, and that's the upside of that is that what we say, what we see is what you get. Yeah. But the problem with that is many times when Israelis hear a diplomatic language used with them, they don't understand what they are being told. So thank God we have people like Ibtisam here who's not talking with us diplomatically and telling us straightforward what we need to listen to. Okay, so this is very important. Not like if the Emiratis and the Bahrainis and the Moroccans, they cross the Rubicon and change the paradigm, let's respect them. Let's not embarrass them. Let's allow them to feel that we are partners, that we listen to their concerns. This is very important. If we will not take this into consideration, we will lose many, many opportunities. I will just finish by saying one thing. My grandfather, we were talking about my Iraqi family. My grandfather and my grandmother died with a lot of misery and pain for not being able to go back to visit their watan, their homeland, the Iraqi homeland. I believe that in my lifetime, and not very far from now, okay, I will go and fulfill their dream. It will happen in our lifetime.
One Emirati friend asked me if I can go with him to Baghdad. I told him yes. I'm not sure that I can come back.
I hope this is not why he offered you.
But it's a dream. Yes, you're right.
It is.
Okay, Danny, last and short answer. I want to ask you if United States should be worried regarding the rapprochement and more cooperations we see between Arab countries and China and Russia. We mentioned China, but not Russia. And be short, please.
The biggest, it's not on. There it is. No? The biggest
Additional
issue,
time,
the biggest issue that's going to, in U.S. elections, we rarely talk about foreign policy. It's always domestic. The one issue that could crowd U.S. elections in a year and a half, from a foreign policy standpoint, is China and the role of China. And what are we going to do about China in the world in the future? Much more than Russia. The Russia-Ukraine thing could play out for years and years to come without resolution. But we are at a critical moment with China and the Gulf and Israel and other countries in the world. You be careful because you're going to be square right in the middle of that face-off.
Thank you very much. And Abdalaziz Al-Khamis, I hope next time you will come in direct flight from Riyadh to Tel Aviv.
Inshallah.
You see? Thank you very much for the distinguished guests.